Hello everybody, my name is Chris Bowser and we're here at the Norrie Point Environmental Center, headquarters of the Hudson River Research Reserve in Dutchess County, New York. It's September 8th, 2011, and for the last week and a half, the entire Hudson River Valley has been hammered by the rain and storms of both Hurricane Irene and Hurricane Lee. And the Hudson River is showing the effects. The Hudson River is an estuary, meaning that it has high tides and low tides. We're here at high tide. On any average day, this would be a very, very high tide. But this isn't even the highest water we've seen here. On the Sunday after Hurricane Irene blew through, the waters, because of that storm surge and the lunar high tide, were above this first rail right here. You can actually see all the weeds that were caught up on this rail. Imagine this water was another 4.5 feet higher than it is right now. So that storm surge that came ripping down through the tributaries of the whole entire Hudson River watershed really brought the water levels to incredibly high levels here on the Hudson River. And that has an effect, and we can see that effects in the Hudson River itself. When we look out at the river on a day like today, the river looks particularly brown. There's a tremendous amount of debris, wood, logs, weeds that have been washed down from all of the tributaries within the watershed. Along with that debris comes a tremendous amount of sediments, this reddish brown mud that basically drifts through the water and gives it that brownish color. We measure something called turbidity, which is the amount of particles like sediments that are suspended in the water column. And one of the ways that we can measure turbidity is using something called a turbidity tube. The way this works is the bottom of this tube is what's called a Secchi disc, this black and white disc that's very easy to see if there's not a lot of turbid water blocking it. If I fill this tube up and look down, I can start to let water out through this valve here. As soon as I can see that black and white Secchi disc, I stop letting water out and it'll give me a relative reading on water clarity or turbidity. Sometimes the water here at Norrie Point is so clear that we can see that black and white disc through about 70 or 80 or even 90 centimeters of water. On days that are a little bit more turbid here, it might be 40 or 50 centimeters. But today, when we filled this up and dropped it, we could only see through about 8 centimeters of water. One of the most turbid readings that I've ever seen here at Norrie Point. So you can see there is a lot of sediment and suspended particles here in the Hudson River. That means that underwater plants are going to have a hard time getting enough sunlight to photosynthesize. That means that fish or the birds that prey on them may have a hard time finding their prey and foraging for food. That's also evidence, though, of what's going on not just in the Hudson River, but upstream. And as you look behind me, you might see amongst all the clearing clouds some of the purple peaks of the Catskill Mountains. And many communities in the Catskills are still suffering from those incredible amounts of rain that have washed out entire roads and streets and bridges. The Esopus Creek, which runs through the Catskills, reached flood stage last night, and there was still more rain on top of that. So the communities that are in the watershed, they are seeing the effects of Hurricane Irene and the storms of Hurricane Lee, as is the Hudson River itself. So we're going to be talking about and dealing with the effects of storm surge and heavy rainfall for a long, long time.